Space with me, Decool.
And me, Lewis Moon. What?
What?
Hey?
Eh?
What?
What?
I'm Dr. Cool.
And I'm Lewis Moon. Sorry about that. We got our scripts confused. Wait, we don't have a script now. We have the minds of boffins, so we just say it as we think it.
As we think it.
As
This
we
is
think
a
it.
Doctor Who podcast.
Yeah.
It's the first one that we're doing properly with our new format.
Yeah, recorded. And it will sometimes come out on Saturdays.
And sometimes Sundays, depending on
So
how long
it will come out
upload.
some point on the weekend for you guys.
Yeah.
So
But hopefully it will sound a lot more plush than what you've had with the
Yeah.
Hangout streaming YouTube one that we've previously done.
I mean, the YouTube, just a bit of background if you haven't listened to the podcast, if this is on some sort of different platforms, for the first few recorded weeks, I'm just going to give a bit of background that our live streaming worked perfectly well before.
Yeah.
But we've had a couple of problems recently with broadband and stuff, so it's meant that it's very distracting to work on the show. And we usually do this at 4:00, and now we are recording at 1:20 in the afternoon. So,
But we're still happy.
it's a bit earlier than we usually do it, but it's going to be a better show, I reckon, and it will still go out on YouTube.
Yeah.
But we're also trying to get it out on iTunes so you guys can listen to it better.
We love to, for those that are new to the show, we love to hear from people. So,
Yeah.
I mean, feel free to send us a tweet. What's the tweet address?
That is at drwho time n space.
Okay, so
So
we love to.
and
we'd love
you
to
can
hear.
also tweet to that's the Doctor Who Time and Space Twitter, and the and Decool's Twitter is at Mark Creek Supergeek.
Okay, we've also you've got your website,
Yes.
which is
MrLewisMoonAdventures.weebly.com, so you can look at that. I try to edit it as much as possible. It's mainly at the moment because there's no series of Doctor Who, and there's not much news going around. It's a bit empty, and today is the 1st of October, aka Doctober on our site. So
October.
something special should be coming this month.
including the new plush sounding podcast.
Yeah, so that's
There
the
we are,
1st of
the first- the
October
first
celebrations.
Just very briefly then, what sort of things do you have on your Weebly, Mr. Lewis Moon Adventures.weebly.com website?
Well, you can see all of my past videos, or most of them. You can see the Figure Adventures, all 5 series.
Yep.
With the 6th series page ready for us.
Yep.
Behind the sofas, you can see.
Those behind the sofas are video version, a bit like the podcast really, but a video
Yeah.
version, isn't it? Where we talk about specific episodes.
Which we've reviewed on the podcast in the past.
Mhm.
We've got the Doctor Who Time and Space, which is this podcast, and we've got up to, so this is episode 179, so we've got from episode 100, because I wiped the web page I think at one point, but I went back and did it all again at one point, and went back and did the show notes.
Okay, so hopefully that gives you a bit of background as to who we are. What have we got on this week's show?
So what have we got on this week's show? Well, the last few weeks, if you missed it, we've been looking at companions in our Companion Chronicles series, and today we're going to be looking at companions from the 1980s, so that's the Peter Davison, Colin Baker and Sylvester McCoy eras.
Okay, sounds good. We'll also be doing, we always have a little update on the news from the past week in the Whoniverse.
Yeah. Last week Well, we have a thing called the Magic Randomizer, which is, or just the randomizer, and it picks out a random episode. We may explain it to you later on when we press it, but it picks up a random episode of Doctor Who, and we watch and review it the next week. Last week, it picked out for us the 4th Doctor episode, The Sunmakers.
Okay. So we'll be reviewing that later on this show.
Reviewing the Sunmakers.
And finally, if we have time, we've run out of time the last few weeks, but I think we should try and do it this week because it's our new format.
Yeah.
We have a section called Who to Face that we do every other week where we can, and it uses a similar sort of randomizer technique where it randomly gives us a doctor, it randomly gives us a monster, and we both make up a story, a brief story, based on those characters.
Yeah. Now, in between sequences today, you will see that it'll make a plush little new sound.
Yeah. Like that.
Yes, that will be what the sound is. You'll hear that later on.
For anyone that doesn't know, we are a father and son team.
Yes, we are.
And we love Who. I hope you love it as much as we do, and
Yeah.
I hope you enjoy listening to this podcast
I
on a
hope
weekly
you do.
basis.
We tried to make it entertaining for you guys. We sort of, it might not be entertaining because we're going on for about an hour about Doctor Who, but we love Doctor Who here. And we want to fill the gap this year.
Yeah.
Of no Doctor Who, and this is a podcast which has gone on since 2013, so it's quite a long running one now.
Yeah.
So at the moment we're filling the gap with some entertaining features and articles, and it is getting hard to think of them at the moment, but
So give us ideas
we've
if
only
you want
got
to.
a couple of months. But if you want to see something from us, then comment below on the YouTube video at the Miss Lewis Amin YouTube account.
Yeah.
On any YouTube video. I'll see it pop through on my feed. Or you could tweet to either at Doctor Who Time and Space, the one we talked about earlier, or at Mark Freak Super Geek.
Excellent. So we usually start off this show by asking each other, what have we done
Yeah.
this week?
Let's hear the plush sound then. God, that sounded plush.
It did, didn't it?
It did
Oh.
sound plush. So as Deco was saying, we're going to talk about what we've been doing a bit in the week, as we always do.
And it's not necessarily Doctor Who stuff, is it?
No, it's just
generally,
general-
just catch up really.
It's things that
A bit of a chat.
you may be interested in at home.
Mhm.
Obviously, this is a Doctor Who podcast, so we won't go on to too much details. The week started off though. Let's go. Let's do this a bit differently from now on. Day by day. On Monday, this Deco here created something new for his YouTube channel, which you can see at Mark Freak Super Geek.
You're right
YouTube.
there, I did.
And what is that? Because, it has Doctor Who things in it, as
Okay.
well as other things that may interest you at home, such as Game of Thrones, Walking Dead, Daredevil, and all sorts of,
Bit of
stuff.
everything. It's called Mark Freak's Super Geek Week, and it's what I hope to be a weekly vidcast or vlog. What's the word?
Vlog, yeah, it's a vlog. Video
thing.
blog.
Video blog, yeah. And I just talk about what I've been watching this week. So it's a little bit like this section in many respects, but just padded out a little bit more with more.
For 17 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
On his own.
Yeah. This week on there, I talked, and it basically wraps up what I've done this week, so I might as well explain it, haven't I? It talks a little bit about the things that I've been watching, which was the Doctor Who episode Planet of Evil,
Yeah.
which we
And
talked about on last
about
week's
that
show.
last week on episode 178, hitting the milestones.
But then the key bit, the main thing I watched during the week was started watching Daredevil season 2. Now I know that's been on Netflix for a while now, but it's the first time I'd got around to watching it. Having really enjoyed series 1.
And they've
It was-
confirmed series 3, haven't they?
They have, yeah. And I'm not surprised because it is a really great. It's a really great version of superhero television anyway. Much better than the films. And the series itself starts off really good. You know, really, some great fight sequences in there between Daredevil and the Punisher, and I think it's going to be a really promising sort of second series.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
That's good.
that's the main things I've been watching on my own. But we did last night
We did. Yeah.
watch Star Wars.
Yeah. Attack the Clones.
Yeah.
Which, my first time of watching it. Yours kind of first time of watching it.
Yeah, I did watch it apparently. I didn't watch it at the cinema. I watched it as soon as it came out on video or DVD, whatever it would be. And the weird thing about it was sitting down and watching it with Lewis last night. I didn't actually remember anything that happened in it at all, apart from
The Yoda.
the big
fight
Yoda fight.
sequence.
Which I remember when I watched it the first time round, it was like, no, why are they doing this? It's silly. But actually, last night I quite enjoyed it. Probably one of my favourite bits.
Yoda versus Christopher Lee,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah, but
Count Dooku.
it was actually I enjoyed watching it again.
Are
Didn't
we
you?
not saying any spoilers? No spoilers?
Yeah, I won't really give too much away.
Yeah, we
in
won't
terms
give
of
any
spoilers,
spoilers away.
But the I know it's generally relatively panned, I guess, as is the Phantom Menace, and it's not up to the quality of the original
It
three
isn't,
movies.
but it's still much better than people say it is.
Yeah, better than Phantom Menace, and I think I've probably got two problems with it. One is that the end battle probably goes on too long.
It does, yeah.
I felt that probably they tried a little bit too hard in terms of referencing stuff. So the
Yeah.
whole thing with Boba Fett having to be in it as the son, the fact that there was the plans for the Death Star, and those are the two that immediately spring to mind. But I'm sure there was quite a few other little references. It feels like they're trying a bit too hard. In that
And there were the good thing though was reference wise that there were, as always, there were quite a lot of former villains popping up, former monsters popping up, like Greedo and the people in Jabba's hut and things.
Yeah, no, that's right. So you sort of saw some of those species and things, which is quite cool. The actual characters themselves are really good. You're starting to see that Anakin isn't as strong as he needs to be, and you can see how he would start drifting towards the dark side.
Yeah.
But we won't say too much about it because we didn't want to spoil it. But we watched
to.
it, and it was enjoyable. We're working our way through the whole of the series. We're now at a point that both of us are at the same spot. Because I haven't seen whatever the last one's called,
Revenge of the Sith,
and we haven't seen the more recent one,
The Force Awakens. So
we're watching them
we'll
together.
be watching those two very soon. We'll try and update you on what we thought of those.
Bringing this back to Doctor Who related matters, you watched a bit of a Doctor Who story that you hadn't seen before all the way through yesterday, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. It was really really good to watch a story that I'd never watched before, as it always is. And I thought that I was trying to think a little while back of stories that I haven't watched or haven't got. And I come across Survival. Well, I got it in Cardiff a month ago now.
Yeah.
It was a month ago.
Mm.
And I watched it yesterday. Really enjoyable, actually. I'd say one of the better Sylvester McCoy ones.
Yeah. You
Much
could argue
better
that
than his first series.
You could argue that that's not overly difficult.
Was it?
You could argue that that's not overly difficult,
No.
judging that particular era.
No.
And that's not any.
But you haven't
against,
even seen any of them.
That's not anything against Sylvester McCoy. Is it?
Actually,
it's
you've seen
just,
Remembrance.
It's just the basic look and feel of some of those episodes. You're right though. I haven't actually seen many of them all the way through. I've watched Happiness Patrol, I think, all the way through.
Oh, yeah. You watched a bit of Greatest Show in the Galaxy.
Yeah.
And a bit of Remembrance.
Yeah. And strangely, I mean, we talked about the randomizer earlier on. Since it does randomly pluck out episodes to watch, we haven't had anything come up on there
No, we haven't.
for Sylvester
That's
McCoy,
good.
have we?
I like Sylvester McCoy as a doctor. It's just I don't like most of his episodes.
Just because of the production values on it.
Yeah,
isn't it,
I
really?
love Curse of Fenric.
Yeah.
I really like Remembrance of the Daleks, and I quite like Survival as well. But you know,
Is there anything else you wanted to talk about in terms of what we've done, or should we move on to the news?
I don't think so.
In that case, Here is the news.
I hear that plush sound, so here we go, the news. So, as it's the introductory episode to this new format, I'll just say that we do the news every week.
Yeah.
Usually
Nearest the beginning of the programme. Sometimes once we've got a new series on, we sometimes push the news back until after we've given an immediate review of the episode.
Yeah, when the new series will be on, we put the review first.
Yep.
And the format gets completely messed up because we do like a 20-minute review, then we do the news, and we get rid of like the main feature, as that's like in the review, and then we add something else in the game show.
Mm-hmm.
So
what do we have in terms of news, young man?
So then, the top news this week. Still not really big news, but just to note that this Friday the 7th, will be the day when Peter Capaldi, Paul McKee, Stephen Moffat and the cast of Class are making their way to the New York Comic Con. So maybe we'll have a trailer for Class. Maybe we'll have some new news about the Christmas special and or Series 10.
I think that's probably quite likely that we're going to get some sort of news, aren't we? They're not going to be going there empty-handed, I wouldn't think.
No, I don't think. They're also, on the 5th, I believe, they're going to Toronto.
Okay.
So there might be some news there, I don't know.
Alright.
It's interesting they're doing them in a row, though.
Yeah. So I'm sure we'll get some news anyway. So, cool.
Okay, so, Canadian actor Justin Chatwin will guest star in the 2016 Doctor Who Christmas special as a superhero character, claims the Radio Times.
This is interesting, isn't it? That we're going to have... Because I don't suppose... I'm trying desperately and very quickly to think through this. I don't think we've ever seen superheroes in Doctor Who before, have we?
No, I don't.
It's quite new, got a different concept.
Yeah, I think it is quite a new concept. I mean, I'm not sure if I like it.
Yeah.
The concept of it. Sounds different, and I think this is the Christmas special sounds like the start of their move back to the more light-hearted sort of style of episodes, like David Tennant, Matt Smith, you know, all those.
What is quite plausible, though, isn't it? It's just because somebody's a superhero on Earth, it doesn't mean that the person is from Earth.
No.
So it could be that they're an alien or somebody that's got some different powers that we're not used to as humanoids. And therefore this person decides, well, I might as well use this to my benefit, and I'll do superhero things. It's similar to what it is with Superman, really, isn't it? You know? So in that, if you look at it that way, then it doesn't actually become anything silly.
No, I mean, now let's talk about what's happened in Series 10 on the move to light-hearted. I mean, Paul McKee seems like a much more light-hearted companion.
Yep.
He seems much more like a Donna-esque sort of companion.
I'm not sure I like it.
Yeah, and if you don't know, Deacle hates Donna.
Yeah.
Actually, that's all of the fans have gone now. So also Matt Lucas is going to return, which was announced a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
And last week, I believe, we announced that he will be in the Christmas special. It is yet unknown if he will be the actual companion or whether he will... Because it says here, the Doctor won't have a temporary companion this Christmas, and essentially that space will be taken by Nardole. He's not a companion as such, but it's not as if he doesn't play a similar role.
Okay, that would be interesting then. I was going to point out to people that if you can hear this occasional sound, Lewis is looking at the news on his tablet and it's got some Velcro on it, and he's the biggest fidget in the world, aren't you?
What? Some Velcro?
Is it Velcro on there that's attaching it? There's something that goes the noise occasionally. I think it's something that lifts up.
There is.
Yeah, That's the one, yeah. And if there's something to rip and play with, you will, won't you?
Yeah.
So, because you are quite a fidget.
Definitely if it's Doctor Who related.
So, Doctor Who related Velcro. How about
It
that?
is kind of.
Yeah. So, anything else to comment on that particular bit of news?
Well, I just want to say that a bit of background on Justin Chatwin. He's a 33-year-old star. He played Tom Cruise's son in The War of the Worlds.
Mm-hmm.
And starred in the US remake of Shameless and the latest series of American Gothic. Is understood to have been cast as a superhero character in the Christmas special, according to sources on the show. It is expected that he will portray a brash figure with an American accent, and in all likelihood, a few dark interstellar secrets of one sort or another.
See, I quite like. I know you sort of said you were doubtful of it, but I actually quite like that, because if you look at it, they're probably running out of things to do with the whole Christmas concept. Really, yeah, they've done Father Christmas, they've done the Snowman, you know, they've done Christmas Carol. Where can they go with it?
All I want for Christmas, I'm usually watching the Christmas special later than Decall on like Boxing Day or something. But all I want for the Christmas special is something light-hearted, you know? Something material, you know?
Yes.
Something you can, something you can enjoy. Not like Series 8 or 9. I mean, the two Peter Capaldi Christmas specials, definitely Husbands of River Song, got the tone of the Christmas specials completely right.
Yeah, indeed,
I think most of them have.
Yeah.
I hope this Christmas special will be good, because it's the only thing of Doctor Who we're really going to get apart from Class, which is really Doctor Who.
Yeah. Okay.
Even though the Doctor's going to be in it, it's not really going to be Doctor Who.
So, do we have any further news, Sarah?
We do. Let me just find it.
Mm-hmm.
I did filler material. Okay, so
After that, a little bit of filler material.
yeah,
On to the next item.
Polarity Day.
Mm-hmm.
So, the Doctor Who Appreciation Society have announced details of their forthcoming event dedicated to the third Doctor, Jon Pertwee, taking place on the 23rd of October 2016 between 1 p.m. and 5:30 p.m. Polarity Day will celebrate his time as the Doctor, with guests including Katie Manning, Richard Franklin, Bob Baker and Terrance Dicks. The day will also feature a special showing of Claws of Axos. Tickets to the main event is free and may be applied for via post. See the website for further details, and those will be in the show notes at the website we mentioned at the beginning of the show.
You probably just want to say it again.
Adventures.weebly.com.
Mm-hmm.
There will also be opportunities for photos and autographs at an additional charge.
Mm-hmm.
Members of the Society will also be able to apply for separate tickets to attend the unveiling of the new heritage plaque in honour of Pertwee by his widow Ingeborg and daughter Daryl, with an invited audience of his friends and colleagues. It is possible to purchase a set of TARDIS Roundel badges from the Society, the proceeds of which go towards raising funds for the plaque and for Pertwee's favourite charity, the Water Rats. Full details see the Doctor Who Appreciation Society website.
Probably just worth pointing out that we tend to lift our news in the main directly from which website?
At the moment it's Doctor Who News, but the major news articles, like the Justin Chatwin one, and ones we can't get on Doctor Who News, we get from Doctor Who TV.
Okay.
So thank you two sites if you're listening, or anyone who's on it, because they're very handy sites.
Well worth checking them out, isn't it, for your latest news?
Well worth it, as they're really cool.
Okay.
Okay. Just by the way, this October there's some some special events. An exclusive code word, as we're going to be giving away code words every day of the month between either a podcast, the website, or another video. Today's code word is Jon Pertwee. So if you're watching now, submit it to the MrListeringAdventures.weebly.com. There'll be a Doctober section and you'll win an exclusive prize. So Jon Pertwee is the code word. So the first code word. Keep track every day for a new code word. You have to get 3 code words of the month.
Okay. And what happens if you get 3? You get entered into a competition?
Yes, you do.
Okay.
And I decide which one of you lucky beggars will be doing the things. Okay, so...
Tell you what would be quite interesting, in honour of that particular article, would be if people drop us a tweet to tell us what their favourite Jon Pertwee story is.
Yes.
So if you drop us a tweet at either...
wait, let me check it's that. Dr who time as in n space.
Okay.
So tell us your favourite Jon Pertwee stories. And whilst you're there, if you want, tell us what you think of the Sunmakers.
Yeah. I got a feeling my Twitter might be slightly different than what you said as well, actually. I'm just going to check it now as we go.
Oh yeah, it's Mark Freak Geek.
Mark Freak Geek.
It's at Mark Freak Geek.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
So,
any other news, sir?
ABC Australia has confirmed the new Doctor Who spin-off Class will be broadcast in Australia shortly after its UK debut. The first 2 episodes of the series will be released on iView as soon as they become available in the UK. Class is due to be released on BBC 3 sometime on Saturday the 22nd of October. In addition, these episodes will be screened on ABC 2 on Monday the 24th of October. Class is a young adult series set in Coal Hill Academy. The first episode will feature current Dr. Peter Capaldi. Class has also been confirmed for transmission in Canada on 22nd of October. BBC America will also screen the series, but have not yet confirmed an air date. So,
excellent. I mean, we're beginning to get a bit more excited about Class now, aren't we? Because
we
were
are.
both a little bit cynical of it to start with, but as it's getting nearer, perhaps still with a little element of nervousness about it. But
Yeah.
it's something new in the Whoniverse, and for that we should be grateful.
Yeah, we should be grateful, as it's something brand new. Peter Capaldi's going to be in it.
Yeah.
It's cool. Let's deal with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you'll get our views on it shortly after its first broadcast.
Yeah, so on either the day or the week after.
Yep.
Doctor Who auction then.
Okay.
Final bit of news, I believe. A number of props and costumes. Oh wait, this has already happened. We can't do this. Let's see. I think we have some Big Finish news. Short trips. Big
Okay.
Finish. Big Finish this week. It's Short Trips week.
Oh.
So, loads of weeks that happen sometimes. Big Finish, by the way, is a Doctor Who audio company. Brilliant people there.
What does short weeks actually mean then?
Short trips.
Short trips, sorry.
They're a 30-minute to an hour long production.
Mm-hmm.
They are short trips are basically like short adventures narrated by one person related to the Doctor that is on. So it's not actually a drama, it's an audio narration one, so, you know,
Okay.
it's an audio book. Today, the brand new trailer went live for January's The World Beyond the Trees, read by Nicola Walker, who was Liv Chenka in the Dark Eyes and Doom Coalition series. and Tim Treloar will be doing Gardener's World. Tim is the third Doctor for the audios. How to Win Planets and Influence People is read by Rufus Hound as he returns to play the monk. Sheridan Smith, who plays Lucy Miller, will return in Flashpoint, and Anik Wills will return for Falling in the in May. So those are 5 brand new announcements from the Big Finish website.
I was thinking about short trips. I should have mentioned this earlier on in the earlier section, but I've just come back from a couple of days away in the Isle of Wight and staying in Ryde. And imagine my surprise when I found a Doctor Who shop there.
Yeah.
Last thing you'd expect.
The last thing you'd expect.
Yeah. Brought you back a CD.
Yeah.
Can't remember what it's called now.
Neither can I. Let me look it up.
But
It is part of the
It's
missing.
part of the Missing series. It's a Patrick Troughton one,
Let me try.
starring Fraser Hines
And Wendy
and
Padbury.
Wendy Padbury.
Trying to find it now. Bear with me.
Bear with. But it's really good to find the little shop there. I mean, I'd say it was completely. Oh, you said it's advertised anyway, isn't it? Quite regularly in the Doctor Who magazine. But it was obviously not being quite the Doctor Who anorak that you are. I would not have known such things.
It's called the Rosemariners.
Okay.
So
Those Mariners probably.
Rosemariners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that'll be interesting then. Well, no doubt once you've listened to that, you'll give your thoughts on this very podcast.
I will, but I've got to finish my other audio.
Mm.
Also at Big Finish, there are short trips deals on. There were new short trips out the other day called Short Trips Rarities, a brand new range. And this month's listener's title is Other Life, starring Paul McGann, India and Conrad Westmus, for only £2.99 on download for this month only.
Mm. Excellent.
From £12.99, I believe. So.
Okay. So well worth checking that out.
Well worth checking that out at the Big Finish website for more details.
Mm.
Okay, does that wrap up the news?
Yes, I think it does.
Okay.
So every week, after the news, we do a little section where we talk about something Who related, some random feature that either me or Deacle have thought about as an idea. And occasionally we do a few series, where ongoing series with 4 or 5 parts, or 3 or 2, but most of the time they're 1-part series, 1-part features. But now we're in the middle of doing a feature. That's not what we really want for the middle of for our new look. But,
No, but that's the way it is.
you know, the 80s had a new look, didn't it?
Well, you can always feel free to go back and listen to some of the old.
And remember, the last episode is called Hitting the Milestones.
So, what's this week's feature?
This week's feature is the companions from the 1980s. So we're looking back. Oh, sorry, I've got. We look back at the companions from the 1980s. So we look at all of the companions from the Davidson, Baker and McCoy era, and of course the late Tom Baker era. I don't mean he's died. I mean the 80s era of his. We start off, and this is the era where things started to. This is the era where things went downhill. This is the era where classic Doctor Who ended. So we'd had 2 eras prior to this, and this was the 3rd and final era.
The glory period from Who was definitely over, wasn't it, by this time? And if you think of the last period of the Tom Baker era was not as strong
No.
as what we had been used to.
Yeah,
Certainly
since the
with-
beginning of the 1970s.
Yeah, which
So,
is a really
yeah.
strong period. How do you think it ranks in terms of companions then?
Companions. I think there's an awful lot of throwaway companions in this era.
Yeah.
Um,
Should we kick off by just running
there
through
are a
them?
few good ones. Obviously, whilst we go through, we're going to do an episode count on the randomizer. So what episodes we've watched. I might get my tablet back up.
Yeah.
So then, we start off. Romana has left now, or is about to leave.
Mhm.
A few episodes before she does, Adric comes in, who is a companion mainly known for his time in the Fifth Doctor era, but did spend a little time, about 5 stories with Tom Baker's Doctor. Now then, I said about throwaway companions.
Yeah.
I don't like Adric. I think he's really boring. He is a throwaway companion. And there were too many companions in the TARDIS at this point.
I think that's right. I mean, I wouldn't
yeah.
necessarily agree with your comment that Adric is throwaway.
No, he isn't throwaway. That's the wrong word. I mean,
I-
he's useless.
He's a bit irritating, isn't he? And he's certainly. I mean, he's the first male companion proper that we'd had since Harry, and even
I
Harry
think
was only
so.
relatively short sort of term one.
He was in it for a season a bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but he's sort of he's very intelligent, Adric, isn't he? But he's sort of like as with most children actors, it's a little bit annoying at times.
He is, and
Bit of a generalisation there.
I think he's okay. It's not the worst, but he's definitely not the best. But
Sorry.
no, he's, he's
Adric.
Adric. We don't need to explain him. We just say he's Adric.
Yeah.
He's a bit boring. He's a bit annoying.
It would be interesting. Were people upset when Adric died? I mean, he's one of the few companions. I mean, that's one of the things worth stating here, isn't it? When we're talking about the companions, Adric is one of the very few Who companions that actually lost his life.
Yes, he is.
Many horrible things may have happened to them, to other ones, particularly in New Who, where sort of stuff's happened, like the way we lost Karen Gillan's character,
Yeah,
whose name for some reason I've forgotten.
Amy.
Amy, yeah.
And you
Similarly,
remember the actress.
yeah. Similarly, sort of stuff happened to Donna, stuff had happened to Rose, didn't it? So.
And to Clara, but...
And to Clara, yeah.
So, episode count.
Mhm.
Legopolis.
Yeah.
Kinda, and Earthshock. Me and Dad have watched a couple more, like The Visitation.
So this isn't all of the episodes they're in, just to clarify. This is
to
the ones that have come up
clarify
on the randomizer.
Yeah, the ones we've watched on the randomizer and watched recently.
Yeah. I, like you, I'm not a great lover of Adric, and again, that's not anything down to the actor, it's just the part itself is a little bit annoying, isn't it?
Yeah.
You mentioned about there being too many companions at this point.
Yeah.
Who's joining him in the TARDIS, either at that exact point at the start of the 80s or soon after?
The other two are Nissa
Mhm.
and Tegan who
Okay.
join Adric.
So who came in at first?
Nissa.
Okay.
Her first story was Keeper of Track
Mhm.
Nissa is another quite boring.
Yeah.
I mean, she's good on her own in the Arc of Infinity, but otherwise she's a bit of a waste of space.
I think the biggest problem with it is exactly what you said right in the beginning of this item. There's just too many
Yeah.
companions.
Did I
for
already
them.
say that it worked in the 60s?
I don't think you did. No.
No, but no, they could have done it in the 60s because the chemistry worked.
Mhm.
It was the right combination of characters, but
Mm.
these ones aren't so likeable.
Part of the reason I think is that in the 60s ones, when you think about the the situation, particularly we had right at the beginning, where you had the first Doctor, Susan, Ian, and Barbara, because all the scenes in the TARDIS were in one place, and because they didn't have the ability to be able to disappear off to other lavish sets,
Yeah.
there was a lot more of it based around the dialogue between those characters. So therefore, that enabled in itself a greater strength of understanding of that character, and we didn't
Yeah.
get that, particularly in the Peter
No, we
Davison era,
didn't.
where you had far too many companions in the TARDIS
You did
together.
get too many.
Yeah.
I mean, Tegan. Let's talk about Tegan.
Yeah.
Tegan is the best of these three, I'd say.
Mhm.
She's still not one of the best overall.
Yeah.
But, you know, she's okay. She's
Yeah.
okay. She's not, you know, she's a bit annoying.
A little bit whiny.
A little bit whiny, yeah. That's partly because she's just got an Australian accent. And that's a bit whiny.
Sorry, good. You just alienated all of our Australian listenership.
Sorry, Australian listenership. I take that back, guys.
I quite like the Australian accent, actually.
It is actually.
Yeah. But the
I'm nothing against the Australian accent. No, I'm
just
not.
Tegan's.
Just
Tegan's.
Tegan.
Yeah. She was in some good stories, eh?
Yeah. She was.
And the ending, I think her farewell is a good farewell.
It is.
One of the stronger companion exits, I think. And obviously that's the one thing,
Definitely.
isn't it? When you've got that number of companions, you get more companion exits.
It's hard to care as well because
Yeah.
there's so many companion exits.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, Adrix is quite strong, isn't it? Because of the fact that it is one of the few deaths.
Yeah.
It's like there's a certain element of shock, isn't it? And the Fifth Doctor, Peter Davison's Doctor, does look really physically upset
He
for the end of
does,
that
yeah.
story.
Yeah.
But it doesn't take him long to get over it.
No, it doesn't because it's Adric. Next up, an interesting companion, I think.
Mhm.
A male character called Turlo.
Yeah.
Turlo is very interesting in my opinion, and one of the best companions of the 80s. He's very different because he's not necessarily that good.
No, indeed.
I think he's got a really good personality, as in, you know, he's quite different as in his personality. I want to see a companion more like him.
The intro sequence to him always makes me chuckle though, because it's a little bit cheesy, isn't it? The bit when he's actually
With the geeky guy.
yeah. There's certainly an element of cheesiness about that, but
There
once he's
is.
in there, and because you don't really know, cause he's sort of working for the Black Guardian, isn't he?
Yeah.
And you know the whole purpose there is to bump off the Doctor. But
Yeah.
you can tell early on that he's not sure he really wants to.
Yeah.
I agree. I like his character. I think it's a different concept, something they hadn't had previously for any companion, so that worked quite well.
Yeah. I think it did, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So who did we have after Turley?
And Perry.
Perry. Okay.
Perry. Which moves us on to the Sixth Doctor era, but the last two stories of the Fifth Doctor.
Mhm.
Perry was introduced in Planet of Fire and left in Trial of a Time Lord Mind Warp, but made a guest appearance in Trial of a Time Lord The Ultimate Film.
Now, Perry's quite likeable, isn't she?
She is.
I quite like Perry, but
I do.
I mean she's very very whiny.
She's very
screamy,
whiny.
Probably very much like one of the old sort of 60s type ones in
Yeah,
that respect.
probably.
far
She's
nearer
very-
to Victoria
she's-
and
Yeah, she's very much like a go along with it
Mhm.
companion, walks along with the Doctor on his adventures,
yeah.
and doesn't really do much, like
No.
as in, apart from, you know, be a bird person and, yeah,
So we like Perry.
be another bird person or whatever, or be a baldy-headed Perry. Yeah.
But after Perry,
Yeah.
we get the very horrible, if I'm right, Mel, don't we?
We do, yes. Oh, I like Mel. She's good. She's Bonnie Langford. Who doesn't love Bonnie Langford? She's in the Stintly Standards. Actually, it's not a stint. She's been in it for over a year now.
And again, it's nothing against Bonnie Langford, but My God, that's an awful character.
It is because, you know, she's. I feel, you know, she's so bad.
She's just very screamy, isn't she? I mean,
Yeah.
if you thought that Perry could scream, or you thought Victoria could scream, you've not heard Mal.
No, you have.
And she's just unbearable, isn't she, at times? And it's
No,
probably
yeah.
not helped by the fact that it's probably the weakest era of her as well
Yeah,
that she's in.
it is the weakest era,
Mm.
I'd say.
Yeah.
She is, so unbearable with her
Yeah.
unnecessary screaming at everything she comes across. It's a rock! Ah!
Are there any good episodes with her in that you've seen? I mean, there's a chunk of the Sylvester McCoy ones you haven't seen yet. Haven't you?
Yeah, this Trial of a Time Lord is alright.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, she comes into it towards that, doesn't she?
Yeah, she does.
Yeah. I was thinking she was purely a seventh companion, but she's not. She's
No, she was in a couple of.
when she thankfully goes, we get probably the closest we've got to the more stronger companions that we see on a more regular basis in New Who.
Yeah.
Which was the introduction of Ace.
Yeah, Ace is a very strong character.
Mm.
Obviously, she's in Survival.
Very much a tomboy.
She's a very much a tomboy,
Hmm.
and we find out she has quite tomboy friends and boys mainly
Yeah.
friends.
Yeah.
She's quite good. Maybe overrated, but I know people absolutely love Ace because
Yeah.
she's sort of a more, a more. What do you say? After years of annoying, unrelatable characters, we've got sort of a more human
Mm.
character.
Well, she's she's a bit sort of rough, isn't she? And
She is a bit.
people can just associate with her because they've probably met somebody like her before.
Or they are her.
Oh, they are. Yeah. And I
Like
think
Sophie Aldred.
I
No,
think
Sophie
people.
Aldred. I've never met Sophie Aldred, but no, I mean Ace. Sorry, I don't mean Sophie Aldred. Sorry, no, it's got
So-
confusing.
So basically, there's the Australians turned off the podcast about 10 minutes ago, and now Sophie's reaching for the off button as well.
Yeah, I see.
No, actually, I mean, but you like Ace, don't you, as a
Yeah, I
as a
do.
character?
Yeah.
And I guess her introduction sort of coincides. I was going to say it coincides with McCoy's period getting a bit better, but having said that, there's still some duff episodes around that point, isn't there?
Yeah.
So maybe I'll take that point back. But yeah, I can see why people like her.
Yeah.
Out of interest, then, who do you think is the strongest of all of the 80s companions?
The strongest of all of the 80s companions. I don't know. It's Ace. Ace is the strongest.
Yeah.
It's not my favourite. I
Okay.
like Turlo the best.
I think
but
Turlo's probably my favourite. as well.
Turlo's my favourite, but Ace is the strongest character.
Mm.
And how do you think companions from the 80s have changed from that of the 70s and the 60s? Do you think they're developing in a better way here from the examples we've shown today, or do you think they've decreased in quality?
I think they mixed around a lot. I think predominantly the Peter Davison era, as you said earlier on, there's too many companions, and the characters of those companions weren't necessarily strong enough to really justify the numbers. The introduction of Perry and Mal brought us back to very much the screaming companions that we've been used to in the 60s.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think that was the right thing to do.
No, neither do I.
But
Yeah.
then we are introduced with Ace, who is... I don't think characters like Rose and Amy and Clara are like Ace,
No.
but they show that same lack of fear at times.
They did, yeah.
Now, maybe in reality, the sort of Mal type characters are more realistic because if you put me on a in a TARDIS
Would you
and
scream
drop
like
me
Mal?
off on Akatan or something, I probably would be screaming like Mal.
Yeah.
But... So have you got anything? Have you got anything to add to this discussion? Apart from the scream.
I don't think we do.
No. I mean, I think it's definitely.
Would you like the description of the?
Yeah. I think it's definitely the weakest era, companions wise.
It is, yeah,
As
because
it's the weakest
it did
era.
play around with it a lot,
But
yeah, it wasn't that strong in terms of companions this time.
yeah. Okay. If that's the end of that little discussion, that'll bring us on then to the review of the Sunmakers. So, the Sunmakers takes us to the planet of Pluto, and it's based a long time into the future, and is really building around sort of the taxing of people. We've got this character Cordo who comes in very early on. He's, as a result of being overwhelmed by the size of his tax bill, he's deciding to commit suicide, but his sort of attempts at jumping off into the abyss are basically halted when the Doctor and Leela, Deacon's favourite companion, appear from the TARDIS and they save him. They also discover that around Pluto there's all these false suns, and that in itself provides the ability for mankind to live on the planet because, as we know, Pluto's not inhabitable. However, the sun and the buildings on Pluto are owned by a company, and they're using this as a way to extort larger and larger taxes from the residents, or which are the people of Earth. The Doctor's, as he would be, concerned by all of this, and basically tries to sort of work out who's behind it and stop it. You've got a number of sort of fairly significant characters here. You've got the Gatherer, who collects
Gatherer
taxes.
Haid.
Gatherer Haid. And then the rather interesting character, the Collector.
Who I call Little Midget Dude.
Little midget
Aw.
man, yeah.
I like him.
Whilst these guys are gathering taxis, there is a small number of citizens who have rallied against it, and as a result of that they live in the sort of dark tunnels that exist underneath the city. The Doctor, Leela and the recently saved Cordo venture down into this, and they bump into the renegades of this undercity, and there's basically a fair amount of coming and going between the Doctor and these residents, but that then leads on, as we find earlier, to the fact joining forces and starting to try and take back control from the company. Does that give you a...
Did you say, as we learned earlier?
Maybe. Don't know.
You said, as we learned earlier.
Did I? I don't know.
You did.
Yeah, right. I don't know why I said that.
Yeah.
And I don't know what I meant. I don't even know in what context I said it. But anyway, whether we learned it early on, we didn't. That's about a sort of a quick summary of the story. What did you think of it?
What I loved about it was the Doctor and Leela.
Mm-hmm.
They were both brilliant in the story.
Yeah.
But I didn't really like the episode.
No.
I mean, it's entertaining. I love the Little Midget Dude. But it's not a classic by any means. It's not really that good.
To me, it seems a little bit out of place. I guess we said earlier on about how towards the end of the Tom Baker era, the stories aren't as strong as they were at the beginning, and this is the sort of second series with Leela is perhaps when it starts to be on the downward spiral.
Yes, it is.
The story to me feels like it would have fit quite nicely into the Sylvester McCoy era.
Yes, it would. Yeah.
But it's not without its charm, as you say. The
It isn't,
Collector's a good fun villain.
Yeah, I
The-
love him, the little squeaky midget guy.
The whole idea that sits behind the episode, I think, it is good. The whole thing with the taxes and things, and the fact that he basically, whatever's happening, it's all about money, isn't it?
Did you know it
Everything's
was
about
by
money.
Robert Holmes?
Oh, really? Okay, that's
He's-
interesting.
That's very odd because if you look at him,
hmm
let me just get up his. Okay, he's wrote some classics if we
Mhm.
look through. Spearhead from Space, Tale of the Autons, Carnival of Monsters, The Time Warrior, Ark in Space, Pyramids of Mars, Brain of Morbius, Hand of Fear, Deadly Assassin, Talons of Wang Chiang, The Sunmakers, Ribos Operation, The Crotons, The Space Pirates, The Power of Kroll, The Caves of Androzani, The Two Doctors, and The Trial of the Time Lord.
Okay, so a lot of some of the best ones sat within there, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Talons of Wang Chiang, Caves of Androzani.
Yeah.
Loads of classics. I mean, Pyramids of Mars, Ark in Space, Spearhead from Space, Carnival of Monsters, Brain of Morbius, all quite highly
Mm.
rated episodes.
Now, I think, like you touched on earlier on, I think there's some really funny moments between
There are.
the Doctor and Leela.
Yeah.
Leela, as I mentioned, is my personal favourite companion,
Yes.
and she is a fairly strong character. I like the way there's a point in it where she goes to kill one of the guards because of the
Yeah.
fact that the guard, the previous guard, she let live, and then it ended up getting her captured. And she's far more sort of potentially barbaric than what we're used to in our companions.
Yeah.
We also, in this episode, we see Michael Keating, who played Villa in
Yes,
Blake Seven,
he
which is
did.
quite cool.
Which is, yeah,
Yeah.
cool. I was just looking at him up on here.
I like as well, and it's where perhaps a lot of the comedy value comes in the episode. The Gatherer.
Yes.
I think
yes.
he's a fun character, isn't he?
And
He's-
his, spoiler alert, death.
yes. So hopefully that people were quick enough on their button.
Yeah, I know.
Spoiler! must press forward.
It was
too
I
late.
thought it was quite fast because I went spoiler alert, death.
Yeah.
I couldn't have done it any quicker.
No.
I'm a human being, for goodness sake. I couldn't have done it any slower. I'm a human being, for goodness sake.
But I think it's an interesting story. It is relatively throwaway.
It is very throwaway, in my opinion.
But it's very easy to watch.
It's very easy viewing. It's very entertaining, but this sort of falls in season 15, which is where it starts to go a bit iffy. There are some good ones in this series: Horror Fang Rock, Invasion of Time, ones that I think are really good. And then you've got ones like this and Underworld, which are Underworld's rubbish, but no.
I mean, to give you a feel from it, since we started the Magic Randomizer, the spreadsheet of random episodes we watch and talk about on this podcast, and we'll be coming to very shortly. Since we've done that, we've watched 80 stories,
We have. So
Yeah.
this is our 80th, yeah.
and both of us ranked it 55th.
We did, yeah.
So that shows you it's certainly not right down the bottom,
No.
but it's not an episode you necessarily say to people, Doctor Who, you've got to get into this. You've got to get
This
into
is
this
a
program.
classic. This
Yeah.
is the one that you need to watch to get addicted for life.
Watch the Sunmakers. What we'd love to know, and if you have seen the Sunmakers yourself, pop us a comment on the bottom of this video
Or
if
tweet.
you're on YouTube, or
tweet to
us.
us at Dr. Who time as in N space. I seem to say.
No.
Or at Mark Freak Geek, which the Mark is with a C. with the
Yeah,
end
that's a
in
good
with,
point. We
so-
should mention that. Yeah.
Because otherwise you might get lost.
You might get the wrong person. They'll be thinking, Sunmakers, what's that mean? So yeah, feel free to give us your comments on it, and if we receive any, perhaps we'll mention them on next week's show.
Yeah, perhaps we will.
So
We will actually, if you
Yeah.
ever do. We
Yeah.
will.
have you got any other comments about the Sunmakers?
well, do you want to move on to scores?
Yeah, do some scores, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I do. I just wanted to say that it's a throwaway one.
Mhm.
It's not one I would recommend, yeah.
Okay.
But Tom Baker and Louise Jameson are great. Monsters. Out of 10.
There isn't any.
No, villains.
Villains, okay.
Collector.
I'm gonna say
Audio.
7 because there's some quite entertaining characters in there, isn't there? In the collector
Yeah.
and the gatherer.
Character development.
I wouldn't say it's very strong on character development. I would probably say 7 again. On that.
Yep. Excitement.
Excitement. It works. Is it exciting? 7.
That's easy to add up.
Mhm.
And pace. Please give it a 7.
I'm gonna give it an 8 actually because I think
Okay.
the pace of it is pretty strong.
Okay.
We're quite generous in our
Yeah,
scorings
we are.
generally, aren't we? On
That's
here?
29 out of 40 for our overall scores. What do you give it?
Probably a 7 overall.
Okay. I know you liked it more than me.
Mhm.
And I'm being a bit more critical at the moment, and that is going to be 6.9.
Okay.
So,
6.9, a 0.1 less than mine.
One.
As I say, we probably score higher than a lot of the other podcasts, mainly because
We do.
we rank it in terms of our enjoyment of it. So for instance, we're not saying the worst episode of Doctor Who is a 0 because probably even the worst episode of Doctor Who we'd rather watch than say Coronation Street.
Yeah. I mean, we do this podcast because we enjoy Doctor Who, and we want to enjoy Doctor Who. We don't want to beat it. We don't want to say, like most people say, its criticisms. We want to focus, even though we do touch on rarely about its negatives, but we want to mainly focus on the positives of Doctor Who, and we want to show that we enjoy Doctor Who, and we want you to enjoy Doctor Who. So this hopefully will show you that.
Okay, so let's move to the Magic Randomizer. I don't think we need a plushy in between bit for the randomizer because it's all part of the same item.
Can I move it from?
Yeah, we're going to flash up the spreadsheet onto the screen, which we're going to do now.
So just a thing.
Uh-huh.
Can you go on to League a sec?
Yeah.
A new thing is I'm going to tell you where everything has been placed and everything.
Mhm.
The Sunmakers was placed 55th for me and 55th for D Cool.
Out of the 80 that we've watched.
Out
so
of the
far
80
on the
we've watched so
randomizer.
far. Also, out of Tom Baker's episodes, we've watched about 30%
Mhm.
worth of episodes, and if I look here, it is almost 31%. And that means we've got about 60% of Tom Baker's to watch. We have watched overall.
About 70% actually.
What? Oh yeah.
About 70%.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
And overall, we've watched about 30% again.
29.58%.
29.58%. Stop correcting me, for goodness sake. So we've watched 80 episodes, and we've got 267 total. So yeah.
Excellent. Brilliant.
Randomizer.
Randomizer. Okay, so this is the moment where we take it to our spreadsheet with all of the Doctor Who episodes we haven't watched still sat in it. We press the magic randomizer button and it will select one of those episodes for us to watch next week. As long as we've got it, we'll watch it and we will talk about it here. If we haven't, we'll pretend we haven't pressed the button and we'll press it again.
Yes. Okay, let us press it then. Okay. So, this is a bit weird, what's going on at the moment. Because,
What makes it weird?
you see, we've watched... Now, one thing that's weird, there's two things.
Yeah.
One thing is that we had no Tom Bakers since January, and then we have 3 in a row.
Yep.
Because this, by the way, is the Ribos operation, which is the opener to the Key to Time.
Right,
So,
okay.
The weird thing is, we have a Sarah Jane episode,
Yep.
followed by her following companion,
Yep.
Leela, followed by her following companion, Romana 1.
Okay.
3 weeks in a row. So next week we're expecting to get City of Death.
Maybe. Yeah.
No, but Ribos Operation, it's another one of those throwaway ones, I believe.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to give it a go again, give it a watch.
I may have watched it when I was growing up, but I can't remember it, so I will look forward to it too.
But now I think it's not a very good one from what I can remember, but it's going to be a good one to rewatch and try again. And we'll give you our thoughts and feedback on that next week, as it's a 4-parter on next week's show.
Good. Okay. Have we got time for Who to Face?
I
Are we
think
going to
we
do it?
do, yeah.
In that case, what have we got next?
Who to Face. So, we haven't done Who to Face for a few weeks, for various reasons, since episode 173, I believe. But Who to Face, basically, is a game show, as we try to do a game show every week, but we haven't done one for a few weeks. The game show is that we have sort of a randomizer type document, an Excel spreadsheet, and we've got about 80 monsters, I think.
Probably. We need to probably pad it out a little bit at some point.
And we've got about 12 doctors, all the doctors.
Yeah. In there.
About 12.
Yeah.
We don't know how many. We click this button and it tells us a random doctor and a random monster, and we both have to come up with the story off of the top of our heads.
Ooh.
You know.
We keep it brief, don't we? So we don't. It's not sort of a particularly long. It's more an outline skeleton idea. For
I'll
story.
go first this week.
You're gonna go first.
I'll brave it and go first.
Okay, so
because I've got a feeling that there might have been a few weeks where we didn't know what was going on, and you might have got it twice in a row. So I want to.
Okay.
I want to stand up to my fate.
Okay, well let's see what we're presented with this time then. Which doctor and which villain? Pressing it now.
Okay.
Okay.
So Boss.
What's Boss?
Boss is the big red screen from the Green Death. As I'm going first, you have to brave the decision of finding out by yourself what this Boss thing is.
Thanks for that. And the Doctor is the 7th Doctor.
Yeah.
Which
so
is
you have enough time.
Sylvester McCoy.
You have a tablet.
Yeah. So I'll let you think about that then, and launch straight into yours.
Okay.
The reason he sort of said that is because I haven't actually seen the Green Death, so I shall just find out a little bit about it. You go ahead with your first one then. Short story, please, sir.
This is called Operation Evil. The 7th Doctor and Ace attempt to return to Perivale, but instead they arrive on some sort of sweet factory. Now that sounds like Sylvester.
It does sound like a Sylvester McCoy one, yeah.
On the sweet factory, they find out that their old foe, Mr. Tumble, has arrived. The associate of Ken Dodd.
Oh.
And
I thought he was the guy from CBBC.
he
Isn't that Mr. Tumble as well, isn't it?
You can, and he says, "You can win all of the sweets in this factory now!" And basically, the Doctor and Ace have to brave these daredevil courses, and Ace is really good at them, and she gets to the end, but the Doctor is caught and ambushed by these soldiers, and the soldiers are savages, and they've been there for years waiting for their sweets, but they find out that the competition is phony, and the Doctor finds out that the sweet factory competition is actually a fake thing for Ace to be killed by a creature called Boss.
Okay.
So Boss has he's in control of this big Mr. Tumble's sweet factory, and he's got Ace capture. Mr. Tumble took all of the weapons from Ace, so Ace is trapped and surrounded. She's about to be killed, but then the Doctor comes to the rescue. And then at part 2 of the cliffhanger, though, when the Doctor comes to the rescue, the Savages turn against him and capture both of them. But then in part 3 there's this big battle between the Savages and Boss, and basically the Savages are so brutal with Boss that they destroy him and he explodes. He's only in it for one part, like with the Green Death.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, that's my
Interesting.
story.
What was it called again?
Operation something.
Okay.
Operation Boss, I think.
Operation Boss. Okay, mine is going to be called Tape Loading Error.
Are you okay with?
Yeah, I'm okay now. And basically, what we find here, we're it's the Seventh Doctor and Ace again. We're in the period of time which would be the sort of mid 80s. When did Sylvester McCoy's period run from?
The 1987 to 89.
Okay, so this is 1988 then, I think, around the sort of time when Ace first comes into it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that okay time wise? And there's, as there was at that time, a lot of the kids are into computer games, using their ZX Spectrums and things like this, and it becomes noticeable that children aren't turning up at school, and the teachers are starting to get a little bit confused and concerned by it. They soon find out that what they presume to be the reason is that kids are getting too hooked on their ZX Spectrums.
Yeah.
And the kids are sort of sat at home waiting for the games to load up. Inevitably, they get a tape loading error, as they usually do. That's the title.
Is it called tape loading?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the Doctor sort of becomes a bit more suspicious about it. He doesn't think it's just truancy. He thinks there's some sort of greater force.
Mm-hmm.
And soon they follow this one child back home, and they see him plug into his computer. The loads up for ages, and then he gets this tape loading error message. And as soon as it says tape loading error, the kid's eyes turn red, and he gets this sort of like squiggly line that goes across his eyeballs. And the Doctor sort of gets in, looks at the machine, tracks it back, and finds that somewhere there's a central power source that's sending all of these messages.
Does yours have a comedy celebrity?
Yes, it does. It has got in it David Lee Travis.
Okay. It cannot be shown in, but that's why it's never been seen by anyone.
That's why it's never been seen by anyone since. So the Doctor actually traces this back, and it turns out that Boss is behind all of the controlling of the pupils. But it's not got anything to do with wanting them to be off school. It's trying to build this army of children.
Super menacing.
Super menacing children to overthrow the government, basically.
Oh, cool.
And they nearly succeed, but then eventually the Doctor does something very clever involving his umbrella and telegraph wires, and blows up Boss.
Oh, cool. Is it 3 or 4 parts?
It's a 3-parter one because they didn't want to stretch the story out any longer.
Mine's a 3-parter, but they said it would have been a 1-parter, but they didn't have that format at the time. And they really struggled to space it out. They said Boss would have come into it straight away because the first 2 parts are just Ace going through various obstacles. And
So-
Candyman makes his well-deserved return. It's meant to air in season 27, by the
Yeah.
way.
Ah,
it never got.
But they
to
never
air.
made it.
No, they never got to.
So that was our quick off the top of our head
Yeah.
stories.
That's always quite funny, that section.
Yeah. If you have your own ideas about what story you'd like to see
For
with
the
the
Seventh
Seventh
Doctor
and Boss, leave us a
Yeah.
comment on those various things that we mentioned earlier on Twitter and YouTube.
Yeah, and the website forums.
Yeah.
And comments. So,
That's it, isn't it?
yeah, that's it for the Who to Face.
Okay, so what do we have next week?
So next week it's episode 180.
Mhm.
And it's our final Companion Chronicles series, and we're looking at the New Who companions.
Yep.
So we're looking at from Rose to the current day.
Okay. We will be giving you our thoughts on the Ribos operation,
We will be looking at the latest news.
and we will do one of our other sections that we periodically do on here, which we call the 3-minute rant.
We'll talk about that more next week. Plus, we have the randomizer again.
The
so-
magic randomizer.
And we go through all of the latest stats, which will be a bit similar to what we had this week because it's the 4th Doctor one again.
Okay, hope you've enjoyed listening to it. I'm D Cool.
And I'm Lewis Moon, and as we always say on the end sequence, we'll see you next week, same time.
Same space.
Goodbye!